We're ready? I'm going to go ahead and keep on the 50s style motorcycle jacket and, of course, this little silly hat. I think it'll give the story a little pizzazz, costuming, if you will. Hi, folks. Folks, love that. Frog or Stinger? We played a game as teens called Frog or Stinger. The game required lightning-fast imagination and the useless ability to spit out a peculiar name at 3-second intervals. The penalty for failure was your choice of either a frog or a stinger. A stinger was simply a modified frog, which, although initially more painful, carried less of a lingering effect. The stinger was executed by pinching up a thumb and index finger full of bicep flesh, then striking it with a knuckled fist. The stinger, properly delivered, generated a formidable spike of pain not unlike a bee sting, hence the name Stinger. Bruising was minimal. The standard frog was just like the stinger, but without the pinching of the flesh. One simply formed a knuckled fist and forcefully struck the wincing victim's arm. Although absent the sting, the standard frog ached a bit longer and usually caused a little mild bruising. If you failed to choose between a frog or stinger quickly enough, about 3 seconds, you were usually awarded both. The best way to avoid a frog or stinger was to maintain a repertoire of peculiar names. You never knew when someone would challenge you to a duel. Much of my idle mental time, which was significant, was spent conjuring up and mentally stockpiling odd little names, readying myself for eventual frog or stinger confrontations. We had some fairly sophisticated rules concerning what constituted a peculiar name. An overtly silly name did not qualify as a peculiar name. Names such as Orville Higginbotham, Cecil Diddle-Fiddle, or Artie Spinnerspock almost certainly earned you a punch in the arm. You could protest, but usually a punch was delivered long before a proper defense could be mounted. Plagiarizing standard joke names such as Sally Letchfield, I.P. Freely, Seymour Butts, or Peter Dragon were a surefire punch in the arm. One didn't relinquish their turn by failing to deliver a suitable name in this prescribed time limit. The rules called for additional punches in the arm until a name was produced, or 3 consecutive punches were delivered to secure victory. Of course, surrendering in the form of a loud "I give" was an option, but was considered sissified and would often get you a gratuitous extra punch. A peculiar name had to sound quasi-plausible, but mostly unusual or peculiar. Delivering a name with assuredness, much like a master of ceremonies at a graduation commencement, helped to ensure the name's acceptability. Titles, add-ons, and hyphenations helped to sell the name as well. We often deployed sounds that weren't really a proper name of any kind, and we learned early on to mix ethnicity to create acceptably peculiar utterances. Names could be repeated only if it was a new game. It was considered skillful if one could retain these sometimes awkward and obscure name-like utterings. Below is a very small sample of the many names used in our sometimes hours-long frog or stinger battles. Here we go. Jules Gesterhouse, Aaron Omaha Bustule, Larry Okoscafee, Caper Sendway, this was a personal favorite, Brutus Olaname, Mary Betty Ka, another personal favorite, Everett's D. Deleparte Jr., notice the accent, Cynthia Estrechia, Opa Belgartha, I use this one just about every game, Frida Aust, Ginty Omergarden, I considered changing my name to Ginty at one time, Leslie L. Insaltito Grimes, Ph.D., Garrett Saclamule, Andros Gagaweehum, Lennar Droskattle, LMT, Andrew Z. Drewmanner, Colonel U.S. Air Force retired, Ketchum Brostobaby, Jimmy's Ulu Gertz, Saul Green Sweetwater, CPA, Nander Westerfans, Guli Ivy Desmond, Batty Dimples McGurk, Jesuit Sammy Weinholtz. Close call, but the mix of Catholic and Jewish got me by on this one. Arfons Mascule, Bunder Spresgrate, Little Kitty Doll Ponders. Lady Sorghum Garwitzel Davies, Jeeping Sea Squirts DDS. I added DDS on the fly. Saved me from a punch in the arm on this one. Lucia Cornwax, Ingram Softsolve, Brutus Thrips, CPA, Bosim Gravypool, Janice Candice Cracksall, Gigi Hegeldauber, Jocelyn Primminer, Swandeer Cookie Spiel, and lastly, Gordy Whisperpain. Hope you've enjoyed my little story. I've certainly enjoyed reading it to you. Bye-bye now.